Protecting a young person's privacy and confidentiality. If you work with young people, another duty you have is to protect their privacy and confidentiality. This is an ethical obligation as well as a legal requirement if you or your agency handle a young person's personal information. As a youth worker, you can be faced with many situations where you will have to make a decision as to whether or not to disclose information a client has told you. Knowing what information you can and cannot disclose is important. Consider the following scenario. A young person, Ruby, tells Nathan, her youth worker, that she has moved out of home because she's had a falling out with her parents. She tells Nathan she's now sleeping on a friend's couch. Ruby's mother calls the youth centre and asks to speak to Nathan because she found his phone number written down on a card in Ruby's old room. Ruby's mother tells Nathan she's frantic with worry because she hasn't spoken to Ruby since Ruby left. Ruby's mother says she just wants to know where Ruby is living so she knows she is safe. What should Nathan do? If you work with young people, you may hold personal information about them that is protected by privacy laws. Under privacy laws, personal information can include a young person's name, address, date of birth and gender, things a young person tells you about themselves, things other people tell you about the young person, for example, information contained in a doctor's report, the fact that a young person is or was a client of your agency, things that happen involving the young person at your agency, for example, if they're involved in a fight, things you observe about a young person, for example, their behaviour, your professional judgments or opinions about the young person, physical information like photographs or drawings of the young person. Personal information recorded in any form, whether it's in a client file, on paper, on a computer or even stored in your head, is protected by privacy laws. You should only collect personal information about a young person if it's necessary to carrying out the functions or activities of your service. Some personal information is considered particularly sensitive, like a person's race, ethnicity, religion, criminal records, sexuality or health information. You must not collect that sort of information unless a person consents. Generally speaking, you cannot use or disclose personal information about a young person if it's for a purpose other than carrying out the activities or functions of your service. You must not share that personal information with third parties outside your service unless you have the young person's consent or the young person would reasonably expect you to use or disclose the information in that way. Other situations where you may be allowed to disclose or share personal information include if you reasonably suspect unlawful activities taking place, or if disclosure is necessary to prevent serious threats to someone's life, health or safety, or if you are required by law. Nathan has personal information about Ruby, which includes where she is living and what Ruby has told him about her living situation. Nathan must take all reasonable steps to keep that information confidential, even from parents or others who might contact him demanding to know this information.